the shots go off, I knew that he was gonna die. I just knew that it was already written like that. You know, when I had held him, I just knew that he wasn't gonna be alive. Biggie died because of the result of the energy. I can't say he died because of this person. He had a beef with Tupac or Suge Knight or this one or that one.
So I'm sure you all know that Netflix just put out a documentary about Sean Diddy Combs, executively produced by 50 Cent.
I think there's less parties.
The documentary dives deep into Diddy's life and how he went from an internship at Uptown Records to building an entire empire that is still talked about decades later. But everyone knows that in Diddy's story, there are always two names that show up, the notorious BIG and Tupac Shakur. Now, if you've seen the documentary, you would know that the first two episodes are heavily focused on Tupac and Biggie, and the possibility of Diddy's involvement in Tupac's murder.
Do you know who was responsible for the killing of Tupac Shakur?
No, I don't.
But you still feel the loss of your friends?
Yeah, of course. I feel the loss of my friends. I feel the loss of Tupac.
In this video, we will go through every time both of their names were mentioned and why. So where did things go wrong? Well, first we have Tupac's cousin, William Lesane, and he explains that there was a growing tension between Diddy and Tupac, most likely around 1994, because in the beginning, everybody was cool. Diddy felt threatened by Pac. However, he still wanted to work with Tupac on a lot of levels, but Tupac was not interested. He was more so focused on Biggie. Everyone knows that he would let Biggie open up for him at shows. And every time Biggie went out to LA, he would sleep on Tupac's couch.
Biggie, remember when I used to let you sleep on the couch and beg a bitch to let you sleep in the house?
The friendship between Biggie and Tupac left Diddy feeling very jealous. According to the co-founder of Bad Boy Records, Kirk Burroughs, there was a yearning for him to have complete, total control. You are my artist. You are my best friend.
You know, when I was around Big, I felt like he really loved me. Like, I felt like if I left the room, he wasn't gonna say nothing bad.
I pay you, you work for me, I make hits with you. And who is this guy? Why does he have to be in the picture? Now that Kirk Burroughs is older, he strongly believes that Diddy had something to do with the death of Tupac.
Star Tupac Shakur is in a hospital recovering from serious gunshot wounds.
Tupac Shakur is recovering from 5 gunshot wounds.
Things started to heat up after the Quad Studios incident when Tupac was accusing Diddy and Big for knowing it was going to happen and not warning him beforehand.
The Tupac article had me pissed off, you know what I'm saying? And the rumors that's spreading is on some tip like we set him up. You know what I'm saying? And that's crazy.
Diddy tried everything to get Biggie upset, but Biggie never wanted to be an enemy of Pac.
Keep your mouth shut, Big. You know what I'm saying? Just don't feed into it.
Even when it hit him up drop, Big never wanted to respond.
And Big heard it, and Big was like, alright. No, he was pissed. And he was like, if anybody do a record responding to that shit, don't bother calling me, don't bother coming around me.
Because the beef had escalated so far, Puffy was hesitant about going back to LA without any sort of protection. Regular security was not enough. A guy that goes by the name of D1 was a member of the Mansfield Crips, and he states that a lot of New York guys would come out to LA, including the well-known drug lord from Harlem, Eric Von Zip. Eric Von Zip had a close relationship with Diddy. Originally, Diddy had lied to Kirk Burroughs and told him that Zip was his uncle. Zip may have known Diddy's mother Janice when Diddy was young. Zip may have also known Diddy's father, who was not in his life.
His brains blown out like on Central Park West. I was the son of a hustler or a gangster.
But one thing's for sure, Zip had a relationship with the Southside Crips and also had a relationship with the Mansfield Crips. Diddy had told Kirk Burroughs that Zip could give them protection going back and forth to LA because he was in with the Crips, and Bad Boy at the time had an ongoing problem with the Bloods and Suge Knight. And what did this result in? Keefe D, a member of the Southside Crips who was good friends with Zip, had several conversations with Diddy in the year prior to Tupac's death. They first met at a club down in Santa Monica. Eric Von Zip had actually set up the introduction between Puffy and Keefe, and from there they developed their own friendship. In late 1995, a BET tour happened in Anaheim, California. Puffy had called Zip's phone and asked to speak to Keefe. Puffy gave some tickets to Keefe, and Keefe brought along other members of the Southside. After the event, Keefe claims that Puffy, inside of a hotel room, decided to make an announcement. Keep in mind, the people in this room are Andre Harrell, Eric Von Zip, Keefe D, and roughly 40 Southside Crips. Puffy told everyone that he would, quote, give anything for them dudes' heads. Keefe could not believe that Puffy said that in a room filled with all those people. Then there was another incident that took place on Sunset Strip in LA at a place called Greenblatt's Deli. Keefe claims that this was where Puffy was serious about getting rid of Tupac and Suge Knight.
Yeah, we were on $1 million.
You tell him we'll do it for $1 million, and he's like, okay, I'll do it for $1 million. He agrees. You shake on it or something like that.
Yeah. Like, man, our shit out. We'll wipe their ass out quick. You know, it's nothing.
Who brought up the amount of $1 million?
Shit, he did.
Puffy did?
Yeah.
Okay.
So here we go, round one, scheduled for 12, and Tyson comes right out, right into Bruce.
Fast forward to Vegas after Tyson had won his fight. Tupac overheard Trayvon Lane talking to the Bloods and Suge Knight's entourage that he had spotted Orlando Anderson, the Southside Crip who tried to snatch a death row chain earlier that year. Ark, without hesitating, immediately went over and knocked Orlando Anderson down. Suge's entire entourage started kicking and stomping Orlando. Meanwhile, Keefe was at the MGM, but he was at a restaurant. He claims there were a few New Yorkers that night in Vegas with Zip, and they all heard Zip say that this was Keefe's perfect opportunity. Zip, in the lobby of the MGM Grand, told Keefe D that he had a gun in his Benz, the car he had driven himself to Vegas. Now here is where it gets interesting. A few days before Tupac was shot in Vegas, Kirk Burroughs claims that Puffy had requested to rent cars and hire multiple drivers and drive all the way from New York to Vegas for this Tyson fight. So Kirk Burroughs had to arrange through his budget in order for that trip to happen. And to this day, Kirk Burroughs still asks himself, why did we rent multiple cars? Why did we hire people from Harlem and other locations to drive all the way to this fight that we are not even going to in the first place? 30 years later, and that question still stands out in Kirk Burroughs' mind.
Rap star Tupac Shakur died last night after a brief life in a rough business. He was 25.
After the shooting, Keefe gets back to LA the next day and gets a phone call from Zip. Zip asks Keefe to meet at a hot dog place called Pink's on Melrose. While they were there, Puffy ended up calling Zip's phone and kept asking, was that us? Eric Von Zip confirmed to Puffy that they were the ones behind the shooting, and according to Keefe, Puffy was happy when he got the news. Keefe states that he was never compensated for the murder. The $1 million was allegedly reduced to $500,000 because only Tupac was killed and not Suge Knight. And in the summer of 2008, just months before Keefe confessed to Greg Kading that he was a part of the murder of Tupac, Keefe met up with a guy named Darius Rogers, also known as D-Mac, and according to D-Mac, there had been a payment from Puffy to Keefe, but it had gone through Zip, and Zip kept that money for himself.
Where'd you run into D-Mac at?
Made it off of Craig at the 76 station. I like, man, call a boy, call your boy. He like, man, what's that still mad about? What's Zip behind that shit? Zip got that money. I like, what? He like, yeah, man, dude gave Zip the money.
Zip keeping the money.
Zip kept the money from his dog.
And he didn't give it to them and then Big got killed.
Yeah, all that. That's all him. Y'all both had our back.
6 months later, Biggie and Bad Boy attended the Soul Train Music Awards on March 9th, 1997.
What's up, Cali?
Kirk Burroughs talked about how they received warnings for months leading up to the event and how they were to not set foot on the West Coast. They knew they were not welcome. And after the award show, Biggie was supposed to go to London the next morning. Kirk Burroughs states Biggie was going to be one of the first artists from Bad Boy to meet the European press. That morning, on March 8th, 1997, Kirk Burroughs was trying to call Biggie multiple times until Biggie finally answered and revealed that Puffy was adamant that he stay in LA, all because he wanted to go to a party on enemy turf, essentially ushering Biggie to his death. That night, D1 from the Mansfield Crips was with Big and Puffy and warned Big about dudes in LA that tend to get down in those circumstances and said Big should not be walking around freely.
With an MTV News special report, rapper Chris Wallace, better known as Notorious B.I.G., was shot and killed in Los Angeles early Sunday morning. He had apparently just left a Vibe magazine party at the Peterson Automotive Museum on Wilshire Boulevard. Biggie was rushed to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center by a citizen, where he was pronounced dead.
Biggie's mother, Valletta Wallace, believed that all it was a Puffy and Suge Knight war.
I don't feel there's no tension. We all people, and that has Biggie passing and Tupac passing has affected us no matter what part of the world you're in.
Valletta actually did not have any real respect for Puffy because he did not do all that he could have done to help out in the investigation. In fact, he was stopping people at Bad Boy from talking to law enforcement because he knew if he helped with Biggie's murder investigation, he was going to help with Tupac's murder investigation, and that could have potentially led back to him. After Biggie's death, Puffy wanted to throw the biggest funeral that New York had ever seen. But according to Kirk Burroughs, as they started to put that together, he saw how much it was going to cost him. He still wanted to throw the biggest funeral, but he said that Biggie was going to have to pay for the funeral. He wanted it to be a recoupable charge for Biggie, even in death. Puffy doing this big show looks really good on him, but he was never going to tell the world that Biggie was the one that was going to have to pay for it. Even before Big was assassinated, he had the opportunity to be on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine. Bad Boy was delivering the elements so they could make that happen. Then out of nowhere, Puffy called Kirk Burroughs and told him to pull that cover. Puffy wanted to be on the cover himself so he could promote his own album, No Way Out. He took the cover from Biggie.
Yeah, and that it all happened pretty quickly for you, from being an intern to being on the cover of the Rolling Stone. There you are in your underwear. Look at that.
Before his death, Big at that time was negotiating his contract. Bad Boy were listening to him and communicating back and forth, but then unfortunately, he died. Kirk Burroughs claimed that Puffy wanted him to change the contract agreement to more favorable terms for Bad Boy, and his family and mother would not know, and since Big had already signed the contract, Puffy wanted those changes to come out of the center of the agreement and have those pages replaced with the other terms. Kirk Burroughs refused to do this, and 90 days later, he was fired.
No one alive, I think, with sanity has as much life experience to draw from. Where I used to just like look up to Robert De Niro and Al Pacino, it was because of their intent, but they couldn't touch me with intent. Neither one of them have been shot 5 times. Neither one of them have been to jail.
All the questions, everything you always want to know what's going on with the situations between me and anybody else that got problems with me, cop that album and get all your answers. To all my enemies, mwah, one love.
After the deaths of both Biggie and Tupac, things started to die down. But in 1999, Mark Curry, recalled a time in a studio session with Puffy while they were working on a song called Muscle Game.
Talk is cheap. Bad boys moving south.
In this song, you can hear Puffy talking and sending subliminal shots.
Fuck with me, I drop $1 million on your head. Race you and your whole family. Gonna start making y'all niggas disappear, man.
It seems like Puffy couldn't help but brag about what he potentially might have done to Tupac. Now this would make sense because Keefe D did confess to the fact that Puffy put $1 million hit on both Tupac and Suge Knight. But nothing came out of it, and for many years after the deaths of both Biggie and Tupac, Diddy went on to release his clothing brand Sean John. Also started a show called Making the Band, and even signed a deal with Ciroc Vodka.
You can only make it with Ciroc vodka. Other vodkas don't work.
It seems like Puffy was consistently going on an upwards trajectory and could not be stopped, but things took a change when a man by the name of Clayton Howard, who worked as a male escort, gave a close insight into his history with Diddy. In 2009, he got a phone call from a woman who he said sounded like she looked amazing. This woman ended up being none other than Cassie Ventura. She asked Clayton to meet her at the London Hotel in Midtown Manhattan. It was there where Clayton had met Puffy, who went by the name Frank Black. This was the start of Puffy's infamous freak-off sessions with Clayton, but what stands out is that Clayton said the first night he was there, Tupac's song would come on. And Puffy would ask Cassie to change it, and she did. Puffy did not react that way to any other artist, just Tupac.
So, do you think Puffy was involved in the shooting?
I believe so. I do believe so. I have proof things that I can say that will back up my claim.
And what's sad is that Clayton states that his meetups with Puffy and Cassie went on for about 8 years. New York, California, Miami. Wherever they were, they would fly him out to them every 2 to 3 weeks. And what I consider the most shocking part is that Clayton revealed that every March 9th, the same day Biggie was murdered, they would fly Clayton out to where they were and he would drink and party with them while they continued to do those infamous freak-off sessions.
Happy Biggie Day! Happy Biggie Day! New York, play that Biggie all day!
Clayton was not sure if that was Puffy's way of honoring Biggie.
Happy Biggie Day!
But one thing for sure, they always called him on March 9th.
I know y'all have heard all of the rumors that I'm looking for a new assistant. The rumors are true.
Capricorn Clark, who was Diddy's assistant for 8 years, talked about her first day working for him. It started off well. Puffy drove around the city describing what her new job will entail. Taking notes, bringing food for him, accompanying him in meetings. Then, as the day progressed, things started to take a turn. Puffy took Capricorn Clark to Central Park, where he sat her down and revealed that he found out that Capricorn used to work for Suge Knight at Deathrow Records. Puffy threatened her and said if something happens, he was going to have to take her life. Then he started explaining exactly how it would happen. Quote, "You would be in a dark park and there will be no one around if this goes left. I'm telling you, we're just gonna do it like this so you understand." End quote. But Capricorn was not the only person that had to endure some sort of trauma from Diddy. Rodney Jones, also known as Lil Rod, was a producer who worked on the Love album for over a year with Puffy, and he told a story about how one night at a studio, he saw Puffy and his son Justin Combs walk into a bathroom with a guy named G. Moments later, Lil Rod said he heard 2 gunshots. Puffy and Justin walk out with confidence. Meanwhile, G was in there bleeding out.
Shooting happened in September of 2022 near a recording studio where Sean Diddy Combs was hosting a writing and
Lil Rod
producing.
said the only time he ever heard about somebody getting shot at a studio while people were creating was Tupac.
Right here, my nigga Lil Leon. His name is Lil Rod, but I'm calling him Lil Leon.
Puffy told Lil Rod to tell the police the shooting did not happen at the studio. Next day, they lied to the reporter and told him something completely different. And somehow, someway, Puffy was able to make that situation mysteriously disappear. No police investigation has ever named Diddy as a suspect or person of interest in Tupac's Quad Studio shooting. Diddy has always denied any involvement.
Say one bad thing about anybody, disrespect anybody, would never have anybody robbed or set up or shot or nothing even like that.
But according to former bodyguard Gene Deal, Andre Harrell and Diddy were in Jimmy Henchman's office that night, and Jimmy allegedly let them know that Tupac was going to get dealt with because he was yelling at Jimmy on the phone prior to going to the studio. Keefe D is set to stand trial for the murder of Tupac Shakur in 2026. He now claims the proffer agreement was made under duress.
I ain't killed nobody, never did, ever killed.
Puffy has never been investigated or charged in connection with the deaths of either the notorious B.I.G. or Tupac Shakur. He has always denied involvement in both murders.
You had somebody kill Pac, but no.
We wouldn't even get into nonsense like that.
The day Tupac got shot, Biggie was heartbroken. Not a problem. I'm here. I've always been a great law-abiding citizen, and it's just something that's...
Oh, and Eric Von Zip, the guy who allegedly stole the money that was for Tupac's murder. It was rumored that Zip used that money to open a nightclub in Harlem called Zip Code.
When you come here, we want to keep the peace and we want to keep it grown and sexy.
And finally, Diddy was tried in federal court on charges including RICO, sex trafficking, and violations of Mann Act. He was convicted on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution under the Mann Act and acquitted of the remaining charges. Sean Diddy Combs has been sentenced to 50 months in prison with time served. Even with all the rumors surrounding that Diddy had something to do with Tupac's death, he is living proof that you can't always run away from your problems. What goes around comes around. No matter how much money you have, no matter what type of connections you think will bail you out, he has spent his life using and abusing people. He has used fear, violence, and the threat of violence to take money from people and put it in his own pockets. And after all that, look where that got him.